writing the equations for geometric sequences. Now we're going to write a formula like you did with arithmetic sequences, but it uses a different format. So writing the equation for a geometric sequence, I'm going to show you how this works now. So the first thing you want to do when you're going to write an equation for a geometric sequence is, this is like your work on you have your graph, I have my t-table, I know what I multiplied by, I know my zero term. You need all of that information to write your formula. So here's how it works. To start with, I'm going to say, what was I multiplying by? I'm multiplying by 3 in this one, so I'm just going to write down a 3. All right, I was always multiplying by 3, so I'm going to put a dot here to say timesing by 3. The question I have, as you look at this, you want to ask yourself, what did I multiply 3 by to get this first term? What can I multiply 3 by to get this first term? Well, it's 1. 1 times 3. 1 times 3 would give me the first term, the number 1 term in that sequence. We'll take a look here. The number 1 is also my 0 term. The number 1 is also my 0 term. So then I take 1 times 3 to get the first term. If I want to get the next term, I'd have to do it times 3 again. So that would be times 3 again. And to get the third term, I'd have to go times 3 again. Well, I don't want to write out all these 3's. So if I'm always multiplying by the same number, that tells me I get to use an exponent. And this exponent then will allow me to find any term in the sequence. So if I want to find any term in the sequence for my formula, I put an X right here. So then I say the formula, and it's just this, is my 0 term times what I'm multiplying by, and the X says how many times do you want to multiply it? So I would be writing this. I would be writing that Y equals my 0 term times what I'm multiplying by to the power of X. And the power of X is how many times you want to multiply that. Okay, so what you'll see sometimes on that another formula sheet, you may see it written this way, that it's A times B to the X power. And A, that's the 0 term. Whoops. 0 term. And B, what you're multiplying by. So in other words, if I wanted to find the 10th term of this on this sequence, I would actually then type in, and I would do this. I would say that Y equals 1 times 3 to the 10th. And then I would need a calculator to do 3 to the 10th, and I'd take it times 1, and that would tell me what the 10th term is in this sequence. So if I kept my t-chart going to 4, 5, 6, 7, that's how it would work. All right, so now that is one example. Let's look at the other example that we used where I have a negative number that I was multiplying by and I made the graph for it. I will still follow the same thing. What was I multiplying by? I was multiplying by -2. So I'm going to put -2 in parentheses because I'm starting with this is what I multiplied by. All right, -2 times what gives me 1? Well, what's my 0 term? -1/2. So out here I will write parenthesis -0.5 times -2, and however many times I want to multiply that out, I'm going to put an X up here to say, well, how many times do I want to multiply by -2? And I'll finish that off by saying Y equals. So Y equals my -2 that I'm multiplying by times my 0 term to the X power. And that's it. That's all you need to do. So take the 8 geometric sequences that you have your graphs and your t-tables for, and write those equations right on the graph, just like I did in this video. Let me know if there's anything I can help you with.